Hello, everyone. Welcome to NJ Thrive Small Business Webinars. Today is Thursday, April 25th, and you are attending one of our weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. I'm your host and moderator, Uzma Sheikh. I'm also a consultant here at NJSBDC, and that stands for New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. We are a network and a statewide program powered by the SBA, Small Business Administration, and partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with three main things. And those things are no-cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. The map that you see there is, of course, the map is the state of New Jersey. And you see the little small SBC logos. That's where 10 of our regional centers are located. So if you want to know more about them, go to njsbdc.com, find out if we're having events there, if you want to speak with a consultant, make an appointment. All of that information is available on njsbdc.com. Today's webinar that you're attending is part of our NJSBDC Tech team, and our tech team is exclusive to the NJSBDC network, which provides technical support and guidance to eligible innovators for SBIR and STTR grants to fund the R&D towards commercialization of tech innovations. And what does our tech team do? No cost pitch to proposal consulting, trainings like this one that you're attending, and other tech resources. Now, it is now available to our 10 regional centers. It is exclusive to our state office. Just a little FYI. If you can see me and hear me okay, put a 1 in the chat. If you ever have problems throughout the webinar with any technical difficulties, let us know. We'll do our best to troubleshoot. Otherwise, we're good. Thank you, Anesta. Good morning, Elizabeth. Good afternoon. And if you would like to share anything about your small business, whether it's the name, what you do, where you provide your services, what you're looking for, feel free to network in our chat. That is really the only option that we have through the webinars. But thank you, all of you, for letting me know. If we encounter problems, we'll do our best. Yeah, feel free to share in the chat about what your small business is about. Thank you, Anesta. Agenda. So we have a couple of headlines. I will go through them very briefly because our schedule today is packed. And then we have our presentation. We do have our guest speakers today as well, along with our main speaker. And then we'll do our Q&A session right after. So these are our headlines of the week. Let me just quickly share with you the headlines. So the first one has just been updated, and that's right hot off the press. So this is from our website, New Jersey Small Business Development Centers, that's us, announces launch of new businesses show, Empower to Grow. So this is exciting because we have been used to doing podcasts, but now we're doing a business show premiering on YouTube and Spotify, scheduled for inaugural broadcast in April, May of 2024, which is this year, of course. This program is designed to support and inspire entrepreneurs across New Jersey with valuable insights, inspiring stories, and actionable insight. This will be hosted by our state director and CEO, Kelly Brosna, and they will air on YouTube, of course. And this is, developed to navigate the complex landscape that our small business community and the entrepreneurs experience. So pretty cool. Please keep an eye out on our website as well as our YouTube channel. All right, so second headline is from NJBIA, New Jersey Business and Industry Association, along with us as a resource. NJBIA is a great resource that you should be aware of as a small business owner. So businesses warned of email scams using NJSBDC logo. This was one of our announcements that we made last week. They picked up on it and they wanted to publish it, and we are grateful that they did because we want to put a highlight on this. It has been reported that scammers have been sending emails fraudulently using our SBDC logo as well as SBA and other logos. As I mentioned, we have our 10 regional centers. So if you receive emails from at njsbdc.com, at americassbdc.org, or SBA.gov, or any of the educational institutions that host our regional centers, then those are legitimate. Any other, please be vigilant and do not respond with, if they're asking for bank account or routing numbers or things like that. Those are phishing scams. All right. Again, thank you, NJBIA, for picking that up. This is a press release from the SBA, announces National Small Business Week Virtual Summit schedule. We've been showing this for a couple of weeks now because it's really important for small business owners. Taking place April 30th to May 1st. Attendance is free of charge. Registration is required. If you'd like to view the schedule, you can go to this link. All these links that I'm showing on the screen, and I will be sharing in the chat. So just wait. Give me a couple minutes until I stop sharing and we will share these in the chat. Thank you. This is a press release from NJEDA. NJEDA is another resource that small business owners should have in their loop. All right, NJEDA establishes New Jersey Green Bank to advance climate goals. We've gone over this in the past 2 weeks, I think. This is an investment through debt, credit enhancements, and other financial vehicles to attract private capital to enable the state to reach its climate goals. If you'd like to read more, there is an entire press release here. Again, we will share this in the chat. Another headline that we'd like to you to be aware of, this was published just yesterday. NJEDA awards first $2 million under angel match programs to support early stage technology companies. So awarding a total of $2 million with a funding pool of $20 million from the Federal State Small Business Credit Initiative, SSBCI. The program was launched last year and continues to gain traction in the market. So if you'd like to know which companies so far have received money through the Angel Match program, they are listed here. And for more information, go to this website. Of course, this link for the article will also be shared in the chat, as I mentioned. So some housekeeping rules that we like all our attendees to keep in mind. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, not the chat box. They'll probably get lost, and we'll address all the questions in the Q&A box later on. Complete the survey and you'll receive the slides that our guest speakers and speakers share. And this webinar is being recorded. The link will be shared in the chat as well. All right, so a word from our special guest. We have guest speakers, as I mentioned. We have Mark de Guzman, who is the I-Corps program manager. Mark, welcome. Lori, welcome. Lori is the associate director. I will stop sharing my screen and we have a special word from them to share with our audience related to today's topic. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Great to be here. So I'm Mark de Guzman. I'm the program manager for the Hub, and I'm also a manager of new ventures in the Rutgers Office for Research, the Tech Transfer Office. Lori?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I am Associate Director of Economic Development and Innovation at Rutgers, but I'm also a trainer and an instructor for the Northeast Region I-Corps Hub. And along with Mark, we run the I-Corps program at Rutgers University.
I just want to give this is a brief overview about I-Corps. This was a National Science Foundation program designed with these 4 key objectives. It was created in 2011, and it has since then become the standard for commercializing science in America. So we want to train an entrepreneurial workforce, translate technologies from research labs into the market, enable economic impact, and nurture an innovation ecosystem. And, there's many, over 1,000 of teams and startups created and over $3 billion in funding. Most people think that it's for universities only, but I'm here to tell you that there actually is a pathway to National I-Corps through SBIR. And so we are part of the NSF I-Corps Northeast Hub, which is part of the National Innovation Network. We span from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Connecticut, running these innovation entrepreneurship programs across the region, affiliated with 11 university partner institutions. It's led by Princeton University. We're from Rutgers University, but we deliver these regional I-Corps training programs. And it's open not just to the university partners, but to other people in the community who are looking to make successful startup companies around technical innovations or deep tech innovations or even tech-related innovations. And so I-Corps really helps you learn, we teach you the methods to develop the skills in accelerating the translation of your technology from lab to market. A lot of people think they have a really great idea, but we help you explore the commercial potential of that idea to figure out who's the customers, why would they care, and things like that. Each team that goes through the regional ICOR program gets up to $3,000 for meeting with potential customers for like travel, going to conferences, joining professional associations, LinkedIn Premium, anything that will lower the barrier to connect you, to meet face to face with folks, to understand what their pain points are, and really develop a solution for those real world problems. And then you can accelerate to the National ICOR or the SBIR, STTR award. One of the major problems that we see in, with startups who are developing in technologies, they end up building something that nobody wants. So whatever technology you might be working on, if you want to develop a startup around it, we want to make sure that you are more successful in building the product or service that is needed in the market rather than just what you think. We want you to work together with who your potential customers are and the whole ecosystem and understanding what they're looking for. So that way you can really have a scalable and repeatable business model. Lori, do you want to mention this entrepreneurship pathway real quick?
Sure, absolutely. So one of the pathways we see from the ICOR program is somebody will enter the program, they'll have an innovation, whether it's from a research lab, working at a university, or something you've created as a small business owner, but there is something innovative there. You'll enter our regional program. You can get $3,000 as an NSF grant. It's a reimbursement for travel and customer discovery. University-based teams can go on to the national ICOR program, but there's other pathways forward. And you may decide after going through ICOR that what you're working on doesn't have market potential. That's okay. You learn it before you spend a lot of time and money. In many cases, it may just need some tweaks, or you perhaps have a different audience, and you'll develop a startup company. And you'll either license the technology to your startup or potentially even license it out to a larger company. But if you do go the startup route, that's where your pathway leads to larger government funding from the SBA, and that's the SBIR grants and STTR grants, small business innovation research and small business technology transfer research. And those are significant. After that funding, you may have angel investments or venture capital. So there's a lot of pathways forward after ICOR. And what ICOR does is actually allow you to see the market value of your innovation and write a better application for those larger grants. So we highly encourage it for innovators. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. And so we do have a few types of programs that people could participate in. We mentioned the regional program, which is on the right side, the Propellus program. That could advance to nationals. We actually do have a half-day novice ICOR program, which is designed to help you explore what ICOR is all about. It's more like an intro, but it's a training workshop networking event where you can shift the mindset from your technology, which a lot of people focus totally on, to the people who would benefit. Once you understand more about the people who would benefit, whether it's the customer or like the user, the economic buyer, the payer, the recommender, the influencer, then you can really understand what everybody's looking for and build what everybody's looking for and be more successful in your startup. And so a typical ICOR team has a technical lead who understands the science and the research and the technology. The entrepreneurial lead is typically it's a grad student or a postdoc, but in this case for small businesses, it's really the CEO. And then an industry mentor, somebody from outside the company or the university who can really connect the team to understanding the industry trends and make warm connections for the interviews. And so really, this whole slide is about a lot of people have really think, oh, I know this, but the idea is you really got to get out of the building and meet with those folks because there's no answers inside the building. You have to get out of the building and understand what they need. So really, it's just about getting out of the building, talking to people, and then you can proceed to National ICOR. These are the upcoming opportunities for ICOR. We have a Rutgers ICOR hybrid cohort. We have a Princeton-led cohort. We have an NJIT-led cohort virtual, and then we have the Hub-led virtual cohort. These are from May into June, July, into the summer. So we can share the events page so you can find out more. Lori and I are actually doing a more in-depth info session later today at 3 p.m. So if you want, just go to go.rutgers.edu/ICOR_info session. And this is the upcoming cohort that we're actually recruiting for. The deadline was April 21st, but we still have a few spots available. If you're very interested, reach out to me and Lori. You can apply here at go.rutgers.edu/Rutgers-Propellus, or you can use this QR code. Again, this is the Princeton cohort. It's 2 sessions. There's the NJIT cohort coming up in June. Again, we'll put all these links in the chat, and then this is the summer cohort, which takes place in July. We also, just so you know, we also have these Innovating Together series these are for individuals, the Entrepreneurship Essential series, which we had actually yesterday talking about major entrepreneurship concepts that would be helpful. And then the Novus iCore program I mentioned is on campus. So the next Novus, if you are interested, is on campus on June 4th in Newark, New Jersey at the Medical Sciences Building on Rutgers Health campus. So you can register here as well. And you can stay tuned with our hub newsletter. I think we could put that in the chat as well afterwards, but I want to kind of give more time to Alan Jones, who has a really great topic to talk about as well. But again, a lot of the topics may dovetail between iCore and SBIR. Like I mentioned, startups with tech innovations who want to apply for SBIR are good candidates for the regional iCore program. So that I'll stop sharing here and we can continue with the program. Thank you. This one. Excellent.
Mark, Larry, seriously great information. We really appreciate it again. And thank you for putting all the links in the chat. I highly recommend that our audience click on those links and open them so they don't get, lost after this webinar is over. Of course, these slides will also be shared with our attendees. So, the hyperlinks they'll be able to click on, I'm sure. All right, so thank you so much. Mark and Lori will be here to answer any questions from our audience. So feel free to ask anything that you're curious about, and they'll both be answering them. Okay, so we have our main speaker, Alan Jones, who is one of our NJSBDC Tech Consultants. I'd like to welcome Alan for presenting on how to register on Sam.gov to access up to $2 million in SBIR STTR grants. So Alan, the stage is yours. I will stop sharing. And welcome. Thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah. Yes. Before I get started, let me say to Mark and Lori, that's great information. And I'm actually going to steal your entrepreneurship pathways chart for future use. So.
Great. Thank you.
But I may actually jump in at your 3 o'clock because I think there's a lot of good information there and I'd like to know more about it. So thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yep, I can. We can.
Okay. So let me sort of put a framework around what I want to do today and what I hope to accomplish. There's no way that I could walk you through in 30 minutes or so a registration in Sam.gov. It's just there's too many questions. There's too much detail to do that in a half an hour. But I know from experience, and by the way, I've been working with government agencies or a government employee since about 1981. I've owned 3 businesses that have done business with the government, so I've registered multiple times. I've helped companies sell to the government and chase research and development dollars from the government for many, many years, and have been through this process. So I know what the major problems are, and I know what the major issues are, and that's really what I want to cover today, as opposed to just a step-by-step. I can't do it as well as the website does, the Federal Service Desk and the website for SAM. I actually think it's a pretty good site. They have step-by-step guidance. If you look in the upper right corner, when you go box to box, they have a little window that tells you exactly what to do and what to say. But I know where the major errors are, and that's what I want to cover, so that you can chase those. We can help you chase those. What is the total budget for SBIR STTR is somewhere 3 to 4 billion a year. So it's quite a pot of money when you want to chase it. I guess the last thing I should say is I'm really hoping to have a lot of questions in the session so that we can answer some individual questions for people where they may be stuck or questioning things. So what is the system for reward management? It is a registration to be able to do business with the government. Whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're Rutgers would have to register whether you're a for-profit, a lab, whatever, and no matter what, when you want to do business with the government, you're going to have to register there. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is, there are things besides contracts and grants with the government. There are cooperative research, there's test service agreement, all those things you have to be registered in order to take advantage of them. But the biggest thing is you get paid. That's the only way you get paid. If you're not registered in there and have your banking information and your business certified, you can't get paid. So get in there so that you can get paid if for no other reason. What do you need to get started? Well, you're going to have to apply for your TIN if you haven't already done a tax ID number out of the federal government, and it's a very easy, free process. There's nothing hard about it. You go to their website for an EIN or PIN or EIN, and you register, and that's it. The other things you're going to need when you start the registration is you're going to need your banking information. I suggest that you do what you want, but I suggest a business account as opposed to registering your personal account, just so that you can track money in and out of the business easier. So one of the things that they ask for, what is the routing number and what is your account number. And the other thing they ask for, which stumps people, is they ask for a contact phone number. Just put in the 800 number of the bank. Don't worry about trying to find somebody for the government to talk to in your bank. Just put in the 800 number for customer assistance, and that's fine. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more detail later, but there's a thing called the NAICS, and it can stump people. And what the NAICS code is, a National Industrial Code that says this is the commodity or the service I supply. You go to what is it? Census.gov/NAICS. Census.gov. I should have put that on here. But you go to census.gov/NAICS, and you put in, let's say you're a steel plant. You type in steel manufacturing or steel production, and it shows you the applicable NAICS. And you go down the list of NAICS that might apply, and you take that NAICS and you put it into the SAM. And what happens is you have to select one as your primary NAICS. So you may select that as your primary NAICS, but you can add 10 more. You're not limited to that one NAICS. You can add as many as you want. Now it starts to look, I've seen companies that have 30 and 40 of them, and they look kind of, all over the map. So I would suggest, limiting yourself to a few that you actually do. And there is one for research and engineering. There are NAICS for research, engineering, science, all those sorts of things. So just go out and get one at least. Know that if you find that somebody is releasing a contract or a grant under a NAICS that you're not registered for, you can always go back into SAM and add that NAICS. You can update. It's your SAM registration. You can update it as much as you want when you want. You're not limited to that. Oh, I did it. I'm stuck with that for a year or whatever. No, you go back in and you update. The other thing that you have to know is the size requirements. Now, most small businesses aren't going to have an issue. The size requirements are based upon two things: number of employees, and then the other one is some industries, some NAICS go under number of employees, and some go by income or revenue. So you have to look up the NAICS table. You have to look up the NAICS table, and it's a PDF that you download, and then you go across and you match yours. But know the numbers are pretty big. I mean, 19, 25, 45 million for income to exceed certain industries, and the standard used to be around 500 employees. I see now the employee number in most industries is 700,000, even more than 1,000. So most small businesses know that they're small enough, and the best thing that can happen to them is they graduate out of there. That means they're making a lot of money. So and the other thing you're going to need is who's going to be the POC for this stuff. On a small business, it's generally the chief cook and bottle washer that's doing it, and they end up registering as the POC for government contracting and the electronic business, et cetera. And it's a copy paste, so it's not hard to do. Let's see, make sure I covered everything on that. Yeah, so when you're going through this, and I've said a lot of words that are government words, and the language is an issue. What the heck is an entity? As a matter of fact, well, we covered an entities, anything that it's a person, business, nonprofit, whatever that wants to do business with government and receive their money. Then the other thing is the NAICS we talked about. What is the FAR? You're going to see many, many references to the FAR. The FAR is the Federal Acquisition Regulations. You can click on the FAR link in all the questions and try to read through them. You'll probably be there for days and days because they are a stack of papers 10 foot high by 20 foot long. So my suggestion is if you get really stuck on one, maybe look it up or call for help or call for a federal service desk or call your local Apex accelerator or perhaps contact us to get help on a particular question about the FAR. But it's the Federal Acquisition Regulation. It is very deep. So where do the mistakes start happening? Well, the unique entity identifier, which is a specific business at a specific location, is where you get it, is the first thing you're assigned. And this is where most of the mistakes happen. People come in and they sign up for their company. Well, when they registered their company at the state, they gave a different name and address than when they registered it for their tax identification number or EIN. And I give example, and this actually happened. I took away the real names and addresses, but I had a client that came in, registered in Delaware as a registered in New Jersey as a New Jersey business, but registered the corporation in Delaware and had a different address on their tax ID number. They got hung up forever on getting their UEN. And so one of the things you want to do before you start is make sure your addresses and your names and your places of business all are in alignment. And that comes down to, and I took this actual example, the Seward, New Jersey 08008 versus Port Reading, New Jersey 08008. Well, one of them isn't right. And the client had something just like that. So please, to avoid a lot of delays and a lot of issues, before you do this, make sure all your addresses and naming are in line. And then the next thing you have to do once you've got that, you have to put up, unless you pay taxes. If you've paid taxes as a business, usually the SAM goes and checks against the IRS database. If you've paid taxes as a business, it's going to bring back your business and say, "Is this you?" If it is you, you check it and you go on, and it assigns you a unique entity identifier. If it doesn't, it's going to come back and say, "We need documents to prove who you are." And this is an upload system within the registration system in SAM. So you upload documents. One of the things I'm going to tell you right now is there's an error in SAM. I don't, last I checked, they did not have it fixed. It looks as if you're going to enter, let's say you enter your tax identification number document that the federal government gave you. If you enter that, you're going to upload, legal business name and physical address in the same document. You'll check that box and you'll try to submit. And you'll copy it in and you'll try to submit, and it'll deny you. It'll say no. And the reason is their system is broke. You have to check all 4 boxes when you want to upload a document, whether it's in that category or not. You have to check all 4. And as I said, last I checked, it was still broken. So just a word to the wise. So what happens if this doesn't work? If your check against the IRS or the state registrations doesn't work, you get a ticket back from Sam.gov, from the Federal Service Desk, saying we've got issues with validating your entity, and they will ask you for further verification or documentations that perhaps you can send a gas bill that shows that we're at this location and we our business is here. But they're going to ask you for further validation, and it says in their in their incident ticket to contact them through this ticket only. Don't open another ticket. Work with us through this ticket, and we'll only work with you through this email chain. I have not find that true. I find the Federal Service Desk one of the most helpful service desks I've ever worked with. They are very, very good, and they do not hesitate to help. I have called on behalf of clients since I've been at with the SBIR program probably 6 or 7 times. When they've forwarded me an email with an issue, I call the service desk and get help right away. I just would not hesitate to contact them. Once the UEI is provided, the system is once you've completed all this, the system is locked while they do the verification, and you can't change anything. You just have to wait. Generally the verification does not take long. I did a practice one the other day using my own personal information. I got verification back in like 5 minutes, so it does not take long at all. And that's because I had paid taxes as a business out of my as a sole proprietor. So and even if there's corrective actions needed, you usually get that email in a day. So the UEI process is not long. When it is correct, you will get your unique entity identification, and then you can continue to the rest of the registration, which is the particulars, the banking information, the ownership information, the information about your commodities or services that you sell. And that you run through pretty quickly. We talked about the NAICS a little bit earlier, but I want one of the things that I recommend clients to do is to go into Sam.gov, register in Sam.gov, and just do search. You do it through login.gov. Do searches for sales of what contracts, past and future, of what you sell, and look at what NAICS they're releasing them under. They may not be using, for example, I have a client that uses 334418, which is circuit card assemblies manufacturing. Well, I find that most of those contracts come out under 3349 components. So obviously the advice to the client is register under 334419 as well as 18. to make sure you're seeing everything that's coming in, and that if some small business advocate in a agency or organization is looking for a small business under a certain NAICS, that they find you. That's the value of registering under the correct NAICS. If a small business advocate is looking for somebody in the small business world that can buy something they want, they go in and look by NAICS. So you want to make sure you get your NAICS right. And again, because it's so important to contracting, I'm harping on it a little bit, but make sure you get it right. Get more than one if you need it. You don't need 30. But if you're constantly watching contract awards for your commodities or services, you will find what NAICS you need to register for. Oops. Where can I get assistance with my Sam.gov registration? Well, the Federal Service Desk, I said it earlier, they are really, really good. Um, Always helpful, always knowledgeable, always willing to go an extra step to help you. And they have if you go to Sam and you click on help, it brings up the Federal Service Desk, and it brings up the contact information. You can email them. I think you can even chat. They have chat now. If I want to get something like quickly, I call them. They never seem to they never are put out by that. They're just it's just one of the best. And they pride themselves on that. So whoops. Okay, so now you've got through your UEI, you've got through your SAM registration. What happens next? Everything is sent to the DoD, Department of Defense, and the Defense Logistics Agency. Excuse me. And the Defense Logistics Agency is responsible for assigning cage codes. And the Defense Logistics Agency uses cage codes, and since they're the biggest buyer in the government, it's important to get one. But they check multiple databases, and they want to, so they'll check my address in a state registration. When I registered the other day, they came back with 3 businesses at my address because I actually had at one point 2 other businesses registered at my residence. One was a biologic research development company, and one was a consulting service. So and I tried to register the new one under my personal information. So they came back and said, you have 3 businesses here, which one is right? And I had to tell them the other 2 were shut down. So they will come back and check things. I would love to I'm not seeing my screen here. You'll have to bear with me. I've lost my Zoom screen here. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. For some reason I can't get back to my Zoom screen. Um, just share another screen with you guys, but for some reason I'm having a hard time getting back to. Oh, there it is. I found it. Problem is I use 3 screens when I'm working it. I don't know where I buried the screen. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to share a different one. I'm going to share a different one with you. And it is an email. The cage people, when I tried to register, I tried to register the other day. So share screen. So you should be able to see this email that I received, response required. Um, uh, it, it's scary, to be honest with you. It goes on and on and on. And it's probably too small for you to read, but it goes on and on, asking many, many questions about uh, my address,
Hey,
businesses at
Alan.
my address.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure that you are aware. Uh, the audio quality from you has not been the greatest since we started, but that's okay. I did turn off your video for a bit just in case it would help, so it wouldn't take a lot of load on your end. So if you can turn off your video just in case, that could lessen up the load. You can turn off your video, that's okay. And let's continue and see if that positively
okay.
affects the
How's
audio
that? Any
quality.
better? Is that any better?
Yeah, I think it goes in and out sometimes, but usually it gets better after a while.
Okay. Okay.
Apologies to our
Sorry about
audience. Thank you so much for your patience and cooperation. This is recorded and it will be available on our website as well as YouTube page, and you'll get the slides from Alan just in case you missed something.
So I wanted to go over this email just to show you that, it's not as scary as it looked. The DLA, the Defense Agency people came back to me and said, hey, you're trying to register, Sam, and we need some more information to verify. So I looked at the email, and there were really only about 5 questions for me in here for me to answer, even though it looks quite extensive. Um, it 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 uh, it was it talks about please provide one of the following documents applicable to your business: signed partnership agreement, signed joint venture agreement, signed trust agreement, last will and testament, charter, bylaws, board minute meetings. Well, they don't tell you you can ignore that. You can, because I didn't register as anything like one of those. I only registered as a sole proprietor. So all I have to answer is the sole proprietor question. So if you're registering as an LLC, you only have to answer the LLC question. You don't have to answer every question they put in here. But I hope you can see my screen. It's very small. But they also asked about all these different companies associated with my name or names similar to mine or businesses at my address. And I had that. All I had to say was no, I'm not affiliated with any of them. So you just go through and look at it logically and answer the back through the email. They'll I copy paste it into my reply, put the answers right under the questions and send it back to them. Um, they're a little slower than the Sam.gov folks over the DLA page. Center, it's Defense Statistics Information System, I believe, DLIS. They're a little slower, so it takes them a bit longer to get back to you. But usually within a week or so, you've got your cage code assigned if you answer all the questions correctly. Sometimes it's iterative. They say, well, wait, we still have a question about this or that, but you just have to be patient and you will get through it. But they do have a service number. And I like to tell people, be as honest as I can, the service number there is hit or miss on the help. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's, not so good. But if you really get stuck, call them or call your local Apex or call us and we can help you. And that's it for the presentation. I really wanted to highlight problems as opposed to, I really wanted to highlight problems and things that I think you'll encounter as opposed to the whole thing. As I said, we just don't have enough time to cover everything. Are there any questions, issues, whatever?
We can certainly address the questions. We do have Devon, thank you for saying that the audio was not good. We understand that. We realize that. It's okay. We'll do our best to work on this for the next webinar. Unfortunately, that did impact, but again, the slides will be shared. Alan's slides will be shared. Thank you for your patience. So right now the audio is good. If not, I'll just try to mute myself and then we'll try to turn off or on our video. All right, so we'll address the questions in the order that we received them. And the first question is from Marie, who asked, how are any of us supposed to protect ourselves, 501c3s, businesses, from having our books, businesses' names, and etc. stolen, profited from, or names ruined?
You mean, I'm not quite sure of the question. You mean from registering in SAM? None of your information, none of the information other than your, and you can choose not to share any of the information in there. There is a block that says, do not share any of my information. But then people you may want to do business with can't see it either. But none of the information about banks, about the only information that's out there is what your business is, what your business does, and who to contact. They don't share anything else with anybody.
Sorry for that. Marie, if that doesn't answer your question completely, feel free to let us know again and clarify. We'll do our best to answer. Next question is from Anonymous. They ask, for the entity size, they request to share the global revenue of the company. Our organization in the US is a small entity, but we are a part of an international group. How will this affect our classification as an SB?
So the Small Business Administration looks at the ownership and the control of a company. So if your small business entity in the US, quotes, is controlled by somebody outside of the US or a larger corporation outside of the US, you are not going to be considered a small business in the US. It has to be US controlled. The ownership, or they want decisions being made by a small business in that small business and not being influenced through the board or the ownership of somebody in France or England or wherever. So it's all based upon voting stock, if you would, who can make the rules and the regulations regarding the business.
Got it. Next question is from Marie. Again, what if I am moving from one state to another this year? I believe this was when you were talking about the you were on the slide about the address and putting in those things properly.
Yeah, so if when you move, you have to go back into SAM and re-register, not re-register, update your information, because the unique entity identifier is location specific. So if you move, you will get a new UEI from that new location, but you don't have to redo everything. You just go in and update your SAM.
Got it. So next question is from Anesta, who asks, what is the future of set-asides if the SCOTUS is removing certain quote unquote unfair benefits to minorities, etc.? Will that prompt removal of these set-asides at some point?
That's not something I know how to answer. My feeling is no, but I don't know. I don't pretend to know the legal or political aspects of that. I just, I was a part owner in an 8A set aside, less than 20% owner in an 8A set aside back in the 90s. I know the program has been around for a long time. I don't think that it's going to go away. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's going to go away.
Got it. Next question is also from Anasta, who asks, how do I get a partnership or a relationship with a prime contractor for government contracting? How do I find them? And to that, Marie responded, no, that has to do with our trademarked materials. So if you can clarify Anasta's question and Marie's comment.
So I don't know what, I'm not sure about Marie's comment, but Ernesto, if I were you, there's something called USAspending.gov, USAspending.gov. You could go in there and search history for your commodity, your NAICS. You go in and you say, I want to see for the last 5 years who the government bought this commodity service off of. And it will give you it, and then you can download that into an Excel spreadsheet, and it will give you everybody who was sold or made money from the federal government off that commodity or service. That will identify for you the large businesses. That's the easiest way to do it. Pick yourself out 5 of those large businesses that have been selling those commodities or services. Contact their small business offices. They all have so the federal government is required by law to give about 23% of all contracting above $1 million to small businesses, right? So $1 trillion budget or whatever it is, that's a lot of money. But that requirement is passed down to large businesses. So when a large business gets a contract of above $1 million, 23% of that's $1 billion contract to Boeing or BAE or whoever. They have to give 23% of that away. So they have small business offices that are always looking for qualified small businesses that they can partner with. So the best way is go find them in USA Spending and then spend some time on Google or Bing or whatever, identifying their small business offices.
Got it. Thank you very much, Alan. And that, I believe, concludes our Q&A session because I do not see any other questions in the Q&A box. Let me just take a quick look through our chat just in case there were any questions shared there. Okay, no questions in the chat box. All right, we just get Elizabeth, you asked, can we update it? I'm not sure what exactly that means. Please clarify in response to that original question. Anonymous asks, Alan, when registering on Sam.gov, they ask you to go to the SBA page to register there. You can opt out of it just by not registering, correct?
Yeah, you can. So I think what they're asking you to do is, if I'm understanding it, they ask you to register, go over to the dynamic small business database, I think it's called. And I suggest you do that as a small business, because that's where the government small business offices go to look for small businesses. They use that database. They'll type in a NAICS or they'll type in woman-owned small business under this NAICS, and they'll get a list of all the businesses that are woman-owned that provide that NAICS. And then they'll know that, okay, we can send out an invite to them to see if they want to bid on a contract. So it's worth it to go over to the SBA dynamic small business database and register. And it's a link right off of Sam.gov. I think it's towards the end, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. And to that, I believe, to that exact question, there is a follow-up. So Anonymous said, but as part of an international group, we won't be considered.
No, I do not. No, I don't believe so. You have to, as I said, the voting stock has to be controlled in the US.
All right. Next question is from Elizabeth, who clarified. Elizabeth says, if I registered only for grants, can I update the registration for making contracts?
Yes, it's your registration. You can do whatever you want with it. My suggestion is select both at the beginning. It doesn't hurt you to have contracts on there, so why not select both?
Yeah.
You have to understand too. For example, some of the research and development grants are actually given out as contracts. So for example, the NIH will give a grant as a grant. DoD often gives a grant as a contract because they're asking you to solve a specific solution with their R&D. So they want you to work towards their solution, not your science. They say, apply your science to my problem and solve this problem. So that in order to do that, the requirements under a contract as opposed to a grant are pretty much more stringent. So I would register for both.
Got it. Next question is from Shirley, who asked, does the SBA.gov request a fee for minority certification?
No, but I believe on and you'll have to check this on me. I believe they have a couple organizations for women-owned certification that they recommend you go to, that those people charge a small fee, if I'm not mistaken. But I would check that. But it's I think that's the SBA doesn't charge you, but they may recommend a service that does charge you.
All right. Next question is from Devon, who asks, please repeat how to find large businesses that have received federal funding. We are a semiconductor manufacturer. I think them if semiconductor manufacturer in Connecticut looking to contract with Intel.
So you again, my recommendation where to start is usaspending.gov. usaspending.gov. And they have a query in there that allows you to query by year. I think it's up to maybe 10 or 13 years worth of data. You can query by NAICS code. You can query by region, government agency, but you can go in there and do a query for the last 3 or 4 years. And I tell people quite often, just use the last 3 or 4 years recently, because COVID really the COVID data kind of changed things. So don't look at those couple of years. Look at the last 3 or 4 years. Put in your NAICS code or what you expect, or you can put in 2 or 3 NAICS codes and look at the companies that were awarded contracts. What I would suggest at that point is sort by dollar value, and then you can see the guys who got a lot of money, and those are the big ones.
Thank you. And I put the link usaspending.gov in the chat. So anybody wants to copy paste that into your Google should definitely do that.
One note on that, when you try to download the data, it is very slow. So you just have to wait, be patient.
Yeah, it's probably a big document. All right, next question is from Marie, and I'll ask Marie to clarify because I myself am a little confused on what you mean, but Alan, if you pick up, feel free to answer. Marie says, is an organization listed with small business 501c3? I'm not sure what that means.
A 501c3 is a not-for-profit. So there's a, it's a not-for-profit business. It's not it's a not-for-profit. It's not a small business, or it can be a small business, but it's a different entity altogether, a 501c3. Different kind of entity.
Got it. So Murray, if you'd like to clarify, please do so in response to your original question or in the chat. In the meantime, I'll just let everyone know that there are a couple people who would like to speak to you, Alan. And the way we can do that is, the way you can do that as an attendee is you can go to njsbdc.com/tech team, And what you do is request counseling there, and I'll share the homepage in just a second. And when you go to fill out our application process, what you do is, I attended the webinar with Alan Joan as the speaker. I would like to speak to him. And you'll get an email from me actually first. And then if you qualify, if you're eligible to speak to the tech team, I will assign you to Alan Jones and you can speak to him. All right, so, okay, I see. So Marie says, can we register with the Small Business Administration? Okay, can we register with the SBA as a 501c3? I think that's what Marie means.
I'm not, geez, I'm not sure the value of that, to be honest. It's small business. You're a nonprofit, so you're not really in business to make money. But yeah, you can register with the SBA. I'm sorry. Yeah, the government does award contracts to nonprofits. As a matter of fact, I worked with one a while ago. Yes, you should register as a 501c3 in Sam.gov. Yes, because they do award contracts. I mean, oh gosh, I'm blanking on. MITRE is a 501c3. MITRE is a huge business, but they're 501c3. So is Argonne. So some of the yeah, you can register and should register. Yes.
Got it. In that same line of thought, Elizabeth asked, can nonprofits make contracts with the government?
Yes. Yeah, they have set asides for nonprofits. They have certain contracts that go out to nonprofits because, for example, management of a program may go to a nonprofit because they want, and I'm thinking about some specific research and development programs called Other Transaction Authority. These programs may go out to a nonprofit to manage because they don't want the nonprofit taking advantage of the information and the insight to feather their own nest. And since they don't want the manager of that program to feather their own nest, so they go to a nonprofit to manage those programs. So yeah, they're and again, look up MITREs and I'm blanking on some of the other big ones, but look at their bottom line. They're huge businesses as well, nonprofits.
Got it. If you can just put that in the chat, Alan, the name of the business that you just mentioned, just in case anyone wants to look them up. So yeah, getting that name in the chat right now from Alan. And then we can go back to a follow-up that Marie has in her original question. And with that, I think we can conclude the Q&A session. Okay. That I will just share that with everyone. You just shared that with the host and panelists. There you go, MITRE. All right, so Elizabeth says thank you for answering her questions. Marie says, so it has to be both a business and a 501c3. Would that be correct?
No, it could be a 501c3. And a it can be a 501c3.
All right.
Which it's a business, but it's a nonprofit business.
Got it. Thank you very much. With that, we'll conclude our Q&A session. Alan, thank you so much for your assistance today. Thank you so much for being our guest speaker today. We really appreciate it. Hopefully our audience found a lot of valuable information. And if there's always any other questions or anything that, we can help with, feel free to let us know. I will put some more links or next things that you can do in the chat right now. And then with that, we can conclude, and I will just quickly show everybody our homepage, NJSBDC.com, and go to our socials, go to our webpage. Feel free to check everything out. So again, I will share my screen. Give me one moment. And Alan, thank you very much for everything. All right.
Bye.
Thank you. What you see here is NJSBDC.com, and this is our website. This is what we always refer to. It's a great resource that you as a small business owner should always check weekly, bi-weekly, along with other resources that I mentioned earlier. The first thing that you see is, request counseling. So if you put in your email, select your county, since we serve residents and small businesses of New Jersey. If you are based somewhere else or moving to New Jersey, or if there are any nuances, feel free to email us and ask us any questions. But along with the business show that we're launching this month or next month, we also have resources and data resources, a toolkit. We have our events, we have counseling that we offer. It is at no cost. It is one-on-one. It is confidential. I know confidentiality matters a lot when you are a tech client. You may have patents, you may have, details on the business plan that may be very important you don't want to share, but rest assured that it is confidential. One thing that I do want to mention is that this page that we have here in relation to our webinar. So you go to events, you go to the first link, and this is our video library. We have been doing these webinars for 2 to 3 years now. So we have hundreds and hundreds of webinars on all sorts of topics, whether it's SBIR and STTR, which we have a lot of webinars on, whether it's procurement, whether it's certifications, whether it's commercial lending, anything like that. We have webinars on those topics. All you have to do is just browse. If you go to view all upcoming events, or if you go to statewide events from this page, it'll take you to Eventbrite page that'll help you register. But if you go to the statewide events page, this is where we have the events and webinars that are upcoming for the entire network. So all the 10 regional centers and the state office. It'll tell you if it's online, and it'll tell you if it's in person. It'll tell you if it's free or if it charges a fee. And we also provide counseling in Spanish. So if you'd like to counseling and events and webinars. So for example, this one is happening on May 22nd. Also, any other topics that you would like to search up, you can filter it out through here. And that is all that I'd like to share about our website. Of course, feel free to take out a couple of minutes out of your day to browse on your own. So upcoming webinars next happening on Tuesday, starting your business essential registration steps with the NJSBDC session 24. We've been doing this since November, I believe. So that, aspiring entrepreneurs find great value in these webinars. So if you are not registered with the state of New Jersey, if you'd like to speak with with one of our consultants, feel free to attend this webinar. But also, if you have a family member or a friend who would like to start their own business and doesn't really know how to register, then I highly recommend that you pass this information on to them. All right, so our tech team has been in existence for, I believe, 2 to 3 years now, just 2 years maybe, barely. But there's potential, there's huge growth there with partners that presented today, for example, with Mark de Guzman and Lori Dars and others that are part of the Northeast ICOR's hub, as well as other organizations. So we can help you with proposals, we can help you with submissions, we can help you through these types of events and other resources. Thank you so much for attending today. We highly, highly appreciate your cooperations, your patience, your support. And I hope to see you all next Tuesday, if not Tuesday, then Thursday. But yeah, NJSBDC.com is your go-to. Take care and bye-bye.